Hi everyone, welcome to another episode on Learn What is Cyber with T. For this episode, we'll be looking into Metasploit. Metasploit is a security framework that is, commonly used by penetration testers. It can also be used for security auditing. I'll just be providing introduction again, just like last week regarding, Metasploit. I would not be, anchoring the lectures. Someone else will be taking it up. I'll provide an introduction to the topic, and then you would listen to a specialist that will take you through and so on regarding the topic. So stay tuned. As I mentioned that we will be exploring Metasploit, but because I'd like to provide introduction to what it is, so that by the time you're doing the answer, you have an idea of what it is. So I'll be looking away from the camera a little bit, and I'll also be sharing my screen from where I'm, showing the information from. So as you can see from my screen, Metasploit is an open source penetration testing framework. It is developed to help security professionals to identify, to exploit, and validate vulnerability in system and network. You can use it on different platforms: Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. You can use it on your Kali too, because of course it's Linux. So, what are the features that makes Metasploit very, very important? It helps to exploit database. It has like over 100K real-time exploit. It's customized payload, which is very important, and the specialist that will be taking this part would show you how to create a payload. It works on different platforms. I'd mentioned that before. It can also integrate with other tools like Nmap, the one we did last week, Bob Suite, and the rest. And it can also provide you with workspace, so you can do various projects simultaneously. So this is one of the very key feature of Metasploit.
In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to gain access to your victim's machine using Metasploit. First of all, we are going to use MS Venom to actually create the payload in which we are going to use to gain access into our victim's machine. Right. So you can see in this command that we have a space left for our Kali IP, and to get the Kali IP, you need to use ifconfig to generate the particular IP that we need for the attacker's machine. So you are filling the blank space, which is ifconfig. You put the IP address from our attacker's machine. Right. So, and then after putting that, we run the command. So wait for some while the MS Venom is actually loading and creating our payload at the moment. So after that, the payload has loaded, we move to the next step, which is actually running MF console, right? That's MFF console. That's the Metasploit framework, right? And we'll wait for it to actually boot up, right? So after it's done booting, then we move to the next step. So after this, we'll actually run use exploit multi/handler, right, as our next command in this video. So we'll use this command to actually state our exploit procedures. So after you put this command in MFF console, you actually use your enter button. So the next step we are going to take is that we are going to set our exploit to Windows, right? And then we click enter. So when we do that, we're actually setting the exploits in which Metasploit would actually use to actually carry out the reverse connection in the system. So another step we are going to actually do is to list all options, right? To know whether all settings and configuration are actually in place, right? So if we don't have our local host IP address in place, then we actually include that. Yes, we'll actually include that in this so that we can actually get we can actually listen to our target system on our Kali machine. So you use next step to use is that you use set localhost to the attacker's IP address. That is the Kali IP address, like I said from the beginning. So you use this set lhost to this particular IP address, then list all options, right? So if you list all options, you see that this particular IP address has been included in our command, right? It has been included in our configuration, right? So that's what it does when we set lhost to the specific IP address. Yes, and you can see that the IP address has been included in our configurations and settings. So the next step we are going to take is that we are going to enter exploit, right, and create a listener, right, so that we can get the communication between our Windows machine and our Kali machine. So the listening session has already started, right? So after this, we'll actually open our shell, right, and drag it or move it to our Windows system so that we can execute it from there. So, and I'll be taking you through the process of how to actually do this, right? So we'll carry the shell that was created by MFS console, MS Venom, right, to move to our Windows machine so that we can actually carry out the exploit attack and gain reverse connection to our attacker's machine, which is our Kali at the moment. So we are actually going to drag the shell directly to our Windows machine, right? So we'll drag the shell to our Windows machine and position it where we can see. So we open our Kali and cancel this. Then we are going to head back to our Windows machine to actually start the process, right? So once we click on the shell, right, it's going to execute on our Windows, on our attacker's machine, which is our Kali, right? And it will create a session, a Metasploit session, right? So we wait for it to load up. So a Metasploit session has been created from our victim's machine to Kali, right? So I'm quite stuck here and I'll be using dash help to get commands that are in Windows, right? And run my process because I'm not really familiar with Windows that much. So we run shell and we've created a session, right? And if you run who am I, you see that I'm currently in my system, right, which is Dell. right? So I'm currently in my system, which is Dell. And you can other run several processes, right? Like system info, right? You can run the system info to see what system information is, and you can also use various command like ps to see various processes that are running on the system. So thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.